Dragon Balls were forged and scattered over the face of the planet. Once united, the Eternal Dragon will be called forth to grant the discoverer a single wish.
Dragon Ball, gotta find that Dragon Ball. Don't stop until you got them all. The seven rising balls. It's all you gotta do to have your wish come true. Get that Dragon Ball.
Did you like that intro? Well, I hope you did, because I promise you that those 15 seconds or so were better than this entire movie. Does Dragon Ball Evolution deserve the negative reputation it has? Could it actually be one of the greatest movies ever made? One of the most accurate depictions of the source material ever created? I will answer these questions for you with one statement. I understand when something is adapted into a movie, some things need to change. But this is not how you do that. I've been wanting to talk about this movie forever, and if you love Dragon Ball yet and haven't seen it, let this review serve as a warning to you. We're going to compare it to the show and see what they got right versus what they got wrong. Did you hear what I said? Things that they got right? Let me explain what I mean by that. Yes, technically they did get some things right. For every one thing they got right, there were 4,000 things they got wrong. You know, I saw this movie in theaters and I hated it. I found the Blu-ray for like $4. And I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe it's not as bad as I remember it. I was wrong. It still is. Dragon Ball Evolution. The word evolution implies improvement, something changing for the better. A more accurate title would have been Dragon Ball De-Evolution. I've been a Dragon Ball fan for years. When I first started watching it, I was in the 7th grade. The Saiyan saga was airing for the first time in the US on Toonami, and I saw it a couple of times after school and caught reruns late at night on Cartoon Network with Goku and Piccolo fighting Raditz. Soon enough, I was hooked. I went back and watched the original Dragon Ball series and continued watching Dragon Ball Z all the way through my middle school years and waited impatiently for our heroes to face and destroy Majin Buu throughout my high school years. I was a Dragon Ball fan for life. I have the entire thing on video. Dragon Ball Z, the animated movies, and yes, even GT, which isn't that great. So when it was announced that 20th Century Fox had the rights to a live-action Dragon Ball movie, my eyes lit up with wonder, and my imagination went wild. I imagined huge epic battles, cliffhanger sequences hinting at the Saiyans arriving on Earth, sequels involving the battle on Namek. I should have known better. I saw the movie opening night, and after the title screen, I remember all the fans in the theater cheering. But as the next hour and a half continued, all those cheers and applause turned into silence as the reality of the horror we were being subjected to set in. What had I just witnessed? Okay, so let's start by going over the story and the characters. I'm gonna assume if you're watching this review, you have a basic understanding of the storyline behind Dragon Ball, so I won't go into too much detail, or else this video will literally be hours long. When this movie first came out, I remember people were upset that there was no Vegeta in the movie, or any mention of Saiyans, the warrior alien race that Goku belongs to, of course. I am by no means defending this so-called movie, but this does make sense that Vegeta wasn't in it and that Saiyans aren't mentioned because the movie was based on Dragon Ball, the original series. Vegeta didn't pop up until the follow-up series, Dragon Ball Z, and nobody even knew Goku wasn't from Earth until that series. I also remember people complaining that Goku wasn't Asian. Well, I understand Dragon Ball is a Japanese manga, but keep in mind, Goku's an alien, so the Asian race may not even really apply to him. And the planet Earth in the series is a fictional version of Earth, so the word Asian might not apply at all in the entire series. All the cities and lands are completely made up. I mean, this isn't Earth, where dinosaurs are still running around and some citizens are animals. These aren't the reasons the movie was atrocious. The problems with this movie are rooted much, much deeper than that. General audiences aren't gonna give a damn about watching a Dragon Ball movie. Dragon Ball fans are your target audience by default. And once you start messing around with the story and making all kinds of ridiculous changes, you're gonna alienate your target audience. That's what happened here. Once the writing is bad, it's impossible to make a great movie. The main villain of the movie, Piccolo, came from beyond the stars with his disciple Oozaru, and they both brought destruction and chaos to the world. Piccolo was sealed away, and since his master was gone, Oozaru disappeared also. What? Where the hell did they get this from? let me stop right here for a second and explain the problem here, because it is such a mess. If the name Oozaru doesn't sound familiar to you, that's just the Japanese name of what we in the United States call the Great Ape. This is the form that the Saiyans, the race that Goku belongs to, turn into when they look up at a full moon when they have their tails intact. They become mindless, destructive monsters that can destroy entire planets, and they cannot be controlled by another being. I can't even begin to imagine where they pulled this nonsense from. Piccolo and the giant apes are two completely unrelated things in the Dragon Ball universe. Speaking of the giant ape form, yes, it does show up in this movie, and it's embarrassingly bad. In the movie, Piccolo spews out some nonsense about Goku being a shell, and Oozaru is really who he is deep inside. There's an eclipse, and the eclipse brings out the spirit of Oozaru from inside Goku, and he's under Piccolo's control. And a meteor brought Goku to Earth, and on his 18th birthday, the Oozaru spirit would take him over to destroy the Earth. I swear I did not make that up. The Saiyans weren't very caring people. They were cold, they were ruthless for the most part. They would send their weaker children to other planets in spaceships in the hopes that they would grow up and destroy the population. Piccolo didn't know anything about these people. Again, two completely unrelated things that the movie completely fused together into one. Now, let's look at the ape form itself. The CG is some of the worst I have ever seen. This is it. That's how big it is in the movie. It's about the size of a werewolf. It went from this to this. This to this.
What? No.
In the anime, the only way to shrink a Saiyan back to normal size is to either cut off the tail or blow up the moon. In the movie, Master Roshi gives Goku words of encouragement, and Goku turns back into a human.
Don't let Oozaru destroy the Goku in you.
And why doesn't he just cut off his tail, you might ask? Well, Goku doesn't have a tail in this movie to begin with. It's just not there. You can argue that maybe it was cut off at some point, but then why the hell is he able to turn into the giant ape? Let's talk about the main villain, Piccolo. In the anime, he has a whole backstory about splitting into two people while one became evil and the other became the guardian of the earth. I'm not going to get into all that. Here's the main point. King Piccolo was one of the main threats in the series, and he tried to take over the world. Goku stopped him, and he put all of his evil into his son, Piccolo Jr. This is the Piccolo Dragon Ball fans are most familiar with. The movie kinda combined them into one character. He wants to find the Dragon Balls to take over the world, he's younger, and he survives the movie. They did get several things right with him. Now let me remind you what I said at the beginning of this video. They did get some things right in this movie. However, that does not equal a decent movie, so let's go over those couple of things. He was from space, like he's supposed to be, and he was sealed away for years in a jar also. In the anime, he was sealed using an attack called the Evil Containment Wave, and Master Roshi does something similar in the movie, which completely fails, just like in the series. He also makes these weird genetic monsters in this movie from his blood. That's similar to the mutated Namekians he makes in the series that serve him, like Drum and Tambourine, among some others. So there's clearly some aspects they took from the source material involving Piccolo. As a character, he just walks around all serious, and he's the one that kills Grandpa Gohan in the movie universe too. Anyone that knows Dragon Ball knows that is nonsense. Piccolo had nothing to do with that. And for a main villain, Piccolo gets beaten in the movie extremely easily. After a couple of punches and energy blasts from Goku, he's beaten. Look at the fight between him and Goku in the series. It was freaking epic. Now look at the fight between Piccolo and Goku in the movie. This is what we got. This is the ending climax right here. Piccolo Piccolo's henchman, or henchwoman, is Mai, who he also uses in the series. In the movie, she's another two-dimensional villain that has zero personality, and she can shapeshift, which they made up completely. Goku's portrayal in this movie is the biggest crime of all time. I can't believe what they did to Goku. Let's look at Goku in the anime. He's a young boy living in the woods, away from anybody else. He's ridiculously strong due to being from another planet and all. The movie shows us a teenage Goku in high school. He still has his martial arts training and whatnot, but he was turned into a high school student that gets freaking picked on by bullies, and he has low confidence. Hold on. I'm actually getting mad talking about this. I gotta calm down. Okay. He also has a crush on Chi-Chi, the hot Asian girl from school that hangs around the popular jock. It's not Dragon Ball, it's Mean Girls 2 or any other high school party movies. Is there a Mean Girls 2, by the way? I don't even know. Leave me a comment down below if there is or not. I really don't care. I just don't know. Goku never went to school. He grew up in the woods, isolated from the world, and raised by his adoptive grandfather that did nothing but teach him martial arts. It's the entire reason Goku grew up so pure and clueless to the outside world. It's essential to the character. His crush on Chi-Chi. In the anime, he wasn't into girls because he didn't even know what the hell a girl was. When he first met Bulma, he thought she was some sort of witch, and he was confused why she didn't have a tail. Now, eventually, he did grow up and get married to Chi-Chi, but he was never this high school student sitting in a classroom dreaming of the girl next door. The next thing I want to talk about is his confidence. This is a huge issue I have with his character in the movie. He has such a low self-esteem, and he isn't sure what he's capable of. Everything he does in this movie, he doubts. Goku is a character that's known to be overly confident and so sure of his own abilities to the point that he's constantly taking on opponents that are stronger than him and feels pure excitement at the thought of doing so. If anything, he worries too little. Whis even tells him that very thing in the Resurrection F movie.
What was that for? That was a total sucker punch! Being too relaxed can also be a weakness. And don't even get me started on the issues with your overconfidence. I've noticed many times where you're so sure of yourself you let your guard down in battle. You're an idiot!
All of those aspects that make Goku such a strong, confident hero in the show completely were thrown out the window for this movie. This is Goku in name and hairstyle only. Now that we've discussed the destruction of Goku's character, let's talk about Krillin, his best friend and rival, the boy that he grew into adulthood with and spent years training together with. How is he portrayed in the movie? Well, not a very good one. He's not in the movie. He doesn't exist. Let's move on. Chi-Chi, Goku's future wife. There's really not much to be said about her here. She's literally just the popular girl in school that throws parties at her house where everybody goes. She also happens to practice martial arts, what a coincidence, and ends up being Goku's girlfriend. She's not the frightful little girl that runs around decapitating dinosaurs with her head blade. A much more entertaining version of the character, by the way. Her father, the Ox King, the King of Fire Mountain, he's not seen or heard about in this movie. And her acting, it's just there. Bulma and Yamcha. This is another set of characters that they did get some things right with, but what made them fun characters in the show was completely removed. Bulma is a rich young girl whose father owns the Capsule Corporation, just like in the show, and she's looking for the Dragon Balls too. She has the personality of a wooden plank in this movie. Most of the time, she's serious and bland. She's supposed to be this young girl that's obsessed with getting the Dragon Balls to wish for a boyfriend, and she's constantly throwing temper tantrums.
Pretty much spent everything I had.
What? Why'd you blow a bunch of cash on a car, huh? Trying to impress all the ladies, I assume!
Well, my other car died. I had to,
Starbucks and fast cars are gonna get you girls!
No.
None of that's in here. Yamcha's a desert thief, just like in the anime, attacking people in the desert and stealing their stuff, and ends up stuck on adventures with Goku and friends. I do have to say the actor that plays Yamcha did a great job trying to replicate the voice of the cartoon.
You're talking, bro.
And he does end up with Bulma by the end like he's supposed to, but again, all the fun aspects of the character were removed. He's supposed to be terrified of talking to girls, and he wants the Dragon Balls to wish for the confidence to talk to girls. None of that's here either. If anything, he tries to act all suave around her, which Yamcha isn't even like that in the series till much, much later. Grandpa Gohan was fine. Honestly, he wasn't in the movie very much at all before he died. but he did a decent job playing a kooky, friendly old man that loves his grandson. He did what he was supposed to. Like the anime, he taught Goku martial arts, and he's respected by other martial artists. Chow Yun-fat as Master Roshi was a strange actor to cast in the role. I can't say he played the role horribly. What I can say is that the role he was given was extremely toned down from what he was supposed to be. His character is so much fun because he's this ancient martial arts master, but at the same time he's a dirty old man, a complete pervert that wants nothing more than to read dirty magazines and watch women exercise, among other things.
I can't believe I'm doing this. There!
The most you get in this movie of him being that perverted old man, by the way, is him wearing a shirt with an anime girl on it, and he does try to grab Bulma's hips. That's about it. In the movie, he teaches Goku how to do a Kamehameha like in the show. Speaking of the Kamehameha, when he teaches Goku how to do it, of course Goku is full of self-doubt and he can't do it. In the anime, completely different. Master Roshi says this technique takes a lot of time and discipline to learn, and everyone is shocked when Goku learns it in seconds and does it on his first try. This is a perfect example of Hollywood not understanding the characters. The last character we're going to talk about, because I'm just about done talking about this movie, is Shenron himself. The huge dragon that comes up when the Dragon Balls are used to grant any wish within its power. In the anime, whenever the Dragon Balls get together, the sky turns black, animals start going crazy, and Shenron appears with an imposing presence and a commanding voice.
Speak! Why have you summoned me at this time?
This is the dragon you get in the movie. This guy doesn't go black. It doesn't talk. Nothing about it is intimidating. This is stupid. And I don't want to talk about that dragon anymore. Nobody in the movie looked like they were having fun, but I can't really blame the actors for the quality of the movie. I don't think any actor could have saved this movie or portrayed the lines any better.
Peace and right! I just tried my neck!
The problem started with the writing, continued with a low budget, and a creative team that didn't know anything about the source material, nor cared to. The writer of the movie even went as far as publicly apologizing for it. He did it for the paycheck. I get it. It was the guy's job, and he got a big payday out of it. So I don't want it to seem like I'm being biased because it's not exactly like the show. I don't mind it when some things are changed when movies are brought to life. Hell, I enjoy the Transformers movies for what they are. They're barely anything like the G1 series, but I know that. I find them fun to watch though. Dragon Ball Evolution does pull some things directly from the source material, but that doesn't make up for the overwhelming amount of things they changed for the worse or simply just made up for the movie. And all we were left with was this bland, generic martial arts movie that is incredibly forgettable. It has to be destroyed. Not even one cell can remain in the extremely likely scenario that it can regenerate. I know what to do. Wait, I should stop. I should stop and think about this. There has to be a better way. No. This is for the greater good. This is Fabian from GamerThumbTV. Till next time, guys.